In today's video, we're going to be taking a look here at these current conditions, diving into the upcoming pattern that looks quite stormy, especially out west, where the transition of storminess is really going to take place. It's going to move from the eastern United States. We're going to see that storm system begin to move in from the western United States, and things will really dry up out east. So we're going to see the opposite of what we've been seeing. Right now, we're seeing a pretty interesting pattern. We've seen quite a lot of it actually this year, but we're seeing the Four Corner states and the south central United States seeing a lot of storminess currently. We've been seeing this, like I said, throughout the summer and the fall now, and this has been a common occurrence. I'm sure by now you guys have above average precipitation this year. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just my assumption. There is some storminess taking place, a little bit more mild up here over the Great Lakes regions and the upper Midwest a little bit. And then you can see some sporadic activity happening here, kind of as you head a little bit eastward, Tennessee, Kentucky, where I'm at, West Virginia, Virginia as well. So we see a couple of different regions seeing this storminess. Now, as we take a look here at kind of the southwestern front of this storminess, we can see that there is a little bit happening here just south of Los Angeles in California, another rare occurrence there. Throughout Arizona, we see some of this, especially as you head kind of to the southeast of Flagstaff. We're seeing some heavier showers in there. New Mexico in here. We're even seeing some snowfall here in the Rockies of New Mexico. So the highest elevations here, we are seeing some snowfall. Outside of that, even a severe thunderstorm warning happening there, but we have heavier showers and thunderstorms taking place around this snowy region. Very interesting to see a state seeing severe weather and snowfall at the same exact time. Pretty interesting thing there. Now, as we head towards Oklahoma and Texas here, we can see that it's a little bit more widespread over the Texas Panhandle down through Odessa region. And then all the way eastward towards Dallas and east of Dallas, we could see some heavier showers taking place over there as well. Now, this does spread all the way into Arkansas and Tennessee, like I mentioned. So we're seeing these regions here, seeing some of this storminess, and maybe a sporadic shower or two here over Kentucky and West Virginia. As you head a little bit further eastward, east of the Appalachian Mountains, we're not really seeing much of this activity east of those Appalachian Mountains. So those mountains are breaking this up quite nicely. I bet, though, this showery activity happening here over southern West Virginia will go ahead and move through the Appalachian Mountains just because it's so heavy at this point. I'm willing to bet that area will be able to get through. Now we can see these very light showers taking place here for Minnesota, Wisconsin, Upper Peninsula of Michigan, all the way through northern Michigan there. And this is an area that's seen quite a bit of snowfall recently and storminess in general, but I've seen Minnesota, I've seen pictures coming in of a lot of snowfall, even accumulating snowfall for some spots. It's been very, very interesting for these folks, actually, in my opinion. I don't know. It seems a little early for me, but I know it's not unheard of for you guys. Now, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to move on. We're going to move on and talk about the upcoming pattern, because I'm sure that's what you guys are curious about. We'll talk about all of that storminess, including major snowstorms out west and major storms in general, and an Arctic blast that is heading towards the east that we've been talking about for a while, but in the longer range, a big Arctic blast for the western United States, which has not happened in quite a while, so we'll talk about that one towards the end of the video. Now, as we take a look here at this upcoming pattern, the upcoming storminess to be more specific, we can see a lot of this storminess is going to spread further eastward here across the southern United States. We will start to see this move in general. We can see this trough is diving in up above, so we're starting to see this cool down take place and more snowfall spreading into the north central and in general the Great Lakes states of the United States. So we're seeing more of that take place as that cold air gets pulled down. We can see that as we continue onward, we're going to start to see more snowfall for Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania potentially, New York potentially as well. So we're seeing a lot of these states start to get some snowfall. Also, along this cold front, we're seeing some rainfall happening as well. So that's going to be also the case. So definitely keep that in mind. We can see this Arctic blast is fully taking place by this point, and there will be this showery activity kind of happening in the middle for quite a while. Potential snow showers, also rain showers taking place, so definitely something to keep in mind here. And that kind of dies down. This is when we get more neutral or balanced here in the pattern. There isn't a big trough or big ridge anywhere, so this is when we're transitioning. This will be by about Friday, October 21st, when we're seeing this big trough come to an end, and really the beginning of a big trough in the western United States. As we can see, a storm system starts to move in around Saturday the 22nd. Take this with a grain of salt. It is a little bit further out, but I do suspect this model is probably onto something this time around with this call for a cooldown in the west, because it has been showing this a couple of times, but usually it only shows it for like one model run. This has been showing this for about 3 days, which gives me much more confidence in this. And this is the beginning of the large amounts of snowfall we're going to see out west for Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana even here, and we're going to see this for many more states than just that, actually. So let's keep going with this, because by Sunday we can see that snowfall has dived down into further south into the Rockies. We're still seeing Washington and Oregon seeing snowfall, still Idaho, Montana, Nevada as well, but now we're seeing Wyoming, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico getting some of this snowfall, and it's clear that there is a big trough here taking place in the west, and this is allowing for the warm air to head towards the east. Again, we talked about this yesterday, and we've talked about this a couple times, but this is a negative PNA that is taking place. It's the opposite, basically, of what we've been seeing for the most part. By the time I reach Monday here, you can see the snowfall continuing for the further north regions in the Rockies here and for portions of the Cascades. And really, we don't break away too far from this pattern at any point here. We're seeing still by Tuesday and even Wednesday here at the end of the model run, we're seeing snowfall for Washington, Oregon, California now as well, Nevada, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, and Colorado. I forget if I said that or not, but we've seen these regions seeing snowfall for multiple days now by this point, and it doesn't look to stop anytime soon. So what we're going to do here is take a look at the total precipitation. And as you can see, in the grays, we're expecting anywhere from 1/10 of an inch or less of precipitation. I thought I was talking about snowfall there for a minute, so that's why I got choked up. The greens will be 1/10 of an inch to 1/2 an inch. Your blues will be 1/2 an inch to 1 inch. Your yellows will be 1 inch to 2 inches. Your reds will be 2 to 5 inches, and then your browns will be 5 to 10 inches of precipitation here. Now, as far as total snowfall, we're seeing in the grays a dusting, if anything. Your blues will be your blues will be about 2 to 6 inches of snowfall. Your purples will be 6 to 10. Your pinks here will be 10 to 20 inches of snowfall. We're seeing plenty of that for the Upper Peninsula of Michigan and also out west for the Rockies and Cascades. And then we even see those pastels happening within the pinks. That is going to be where we're seeing 20 inches plus. So certainly a lot of snowfall taking place here for portions in the west and the east. As we approach November, we're kind of reaching one of those more wintry months coming up soon. So definitely makes sense here to see this occurring. Now, let's take a look at that upcoming temperature pattern, because this is really interesting as well. We're going to see that right now we're seeing some cooler temperatures moving into the east for sure. And we're seeing these warm temperatures spread up across the western regions of North America there. And as you can see, as we continue on, that trough fully moves into the eastern United States, bringing a major Arctic blast here for regions of the eastern United States, and we're still locked in this positive PNA. As we continue on, we can see this trough is going to last all the way through Thursday, the 20th here. Friday, the 21st, we see it still taking place, and then by Saturday, the 22nd, it looks like it's really coming to an end. We see our first signs of cold out west, indicating that negative PNA starting to take place, which is going to force this warm air again to a lot of these regions as opposed to these regions. So we're going to see that flip. And by Sunday, Monday timeframe, that's the 24th, we see it has fully taken over. We see the cold air here, the warm air spreading for these regions, and certainly we're fully engaged in a negative PNA by this point. Monday, October 24th there. 25th, we're still seeing this taking place there. Colder out west for sure. Warmer in the east, certainly. And it keeps on going through Wednesday. So only time we'll be able to tell how long we'll be locked into this pattern, the negative PNA pattern. But this is the first time we've seen a strong negative PNA in probably 2 months or so. So definitely interesting to see here. Now, we're going to go ahead and continue to track this through the coming days. I think that we will see a more transitionary pattern. I don't know why I wanted to say transitory pattern. But we're going to see a pattern where we're going to see this really continuing to change and move. We're not just going to see cold in the west, the whole time and warm in the east the whole time, or vice versa. We're going to see this probably moving quite a bit, which would mean the trough in the west will begin to move eastward, and then a ridge will build in the west, but then we'll see another trough move in the west, and then the ridge will move eastward, and it keeps on transitioning like that. We have seen patterns like that take place pretty often, and I think that's probably the more likely pattern that we're going to be moving towards. But again, we will track this every single day as we do upload every single day, so be sure to subscribe for those daily uploads. Like the video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below with your thoughts, and I will see you guys in the next video.